On the morning of June 30th, 1908, a man was sitting on his front porch at a trading post in Vanavara, Siberia. He was approximately 25 to 40 miles away from the epicenter of what was about to happen. Suddenly, the sky split in two. He reported seeing a fire high and wide over the forest that produced heat so intense he felt as if his shirt was burning off his body. Moments later, a shockwave threw him off his chair and knocked him unconscious. He was one of the lucky ones. He had just witnessed the largest impact event in recorded human history. In a fraction of a second, an explosion 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima flattened 80 million trees across 830 square miles. It sent seismic waves around the globe twice. The shock was so massive that night skies in London and Asia glowed bright enough for people to read newspapers at midnight. But here is the part that defies physics. When scientists finally arrived to look for the asteroid that caused this apocalypse, they found the one thing they didn't expect. They found absolutely nothing. The Tunguska Event is unique because of its isolation. Because it happened in one of the most remote places on Earth, it took 19 years for the first scientific expedition to reach the site. In 1927, Soviet mineralogist Leonid Kulik led a team into the desolate taiga. He was convinced he would find a massive crater, a hole in the ground filled with valuable meteoric iron that would make the journey worth the hardship. But as they approached the epicenter, the forest began to change. First, they saw trees knocked down, pointing away from the center. Then, as they went deeper, the devastation became total. It looked like a giant hand had slapped the forest flat. But when they reached ground zero, the place where the rock should have hit, there was no crater. There was no giant hole. There was no meteorite. Instead, at the very center of the destruction, the trees were still standing upright, stripped completely of their branches and bark, looking like a forest of telegraph poles. It was a scene of total devastation without a weapon. For decades, this missing crater fueled some of the wildest theories in science fiction. If there was no rock, what caused the explosion? Some theorized it was a natural gas leak from the Earth that ignited. Others, leaning into the timing, suggested it was a weapons test by Nikola Tesla, who had been experimenting with wireless energy transmission towers thousands of miles away in New York. The lack of physical evidence even led serious researchers to propose that a microscopic black hole or a chunk of antimatter had passed through the Earth. However, the Telegraph Pole forest gave scientists the real clue. The fact that the center trees were standing while the outer trees were flattened suggested that the explosion didn't happen on the ground. It happened above it. This leads us to the Airburst Theory. Scientists now believe that a stony asteroid, perhaps 200 feet wide, entered Earth's atmosphere at 33,500 miles per hour. The immense pressure and heat of entry caused the rock to detonate at an altitude of about 3 to 6 miles. This explains everything. The rock vaporized instantly, which is why there is no crater. The blast wave went straight down, stripping the branches off the trees directly below it, leaving them standing, while the shock wave rolled outward, flattening everything else for hundreds of miles. It was essentially a bomb made of rock and speed. The terror of the Tunguska Event isn't about what happened in 1908. It's about what could happen tomorrow. If that asteroid had arrived just 4 hours and 47 minutes later due to the rotation of the Earth, it wouldn't have exploded over the empty Siberian forest. It would have detonated directly over the city of St. Petersburg. Instead of flattening trees, it would have flattened an imperial capital, killing hundreds of thousands of people instantly, and changing the course of the 20th century before it even began. We treat Tunguska as a curiosity because no one died, but in cosmic terms, it was a warning shot fired across the bow of humanity. It proved that you don't need a dinosaur-killing asteroid to wipe out a civilization. You just need a medium-sized rock and a bit of bad timing. It is a reminder that we are living in a shooting gallery, and for the last 100 years, we have simply been lucky. Tunguska remains the benchmark for close calls.
This pattern, it's a warning from history.
It is the ghost story that astronomers tell each other. The trees have since grown back, covering the scar on the Siberian landscape, but the mystery of exactly what that object was, asteroid or comet, is still debated today. But what do you think? Was it just a stony asteroid that got lucky? Or do you subscribe to the more exotic theories of Tesla towers and UFO crashes? Let me know in the comments. And make sure to subscribe, because next time we are moving from the destruction of nature to the destruction of a man. We are going to examine the death of Rasputin, the Russian mystic who was poisoned, shot, beaten, and drowned, and seemingly refused to die. You won't want to miss that.